we're rolling into it. Salient Points.
Yeah.
No, this is not Salient Points. This is a mini Seent It special edition. As Luis told you last time, don't think about it too hard, man. All right, we're on episode. If it's episode 5, then this is episode 4 of the mini Seent It. I'm Carlos Macias. Thank you. The math checks out. Like Luis told you, don't think about it too much, Dalan. And Dalan Kirkwood from up in the mountains. Thank you for joining me for this, sir.
Thank you, Super Sentai.
Thank you. We did watch Last of Us. It was episode 5, Endure and Survive. Dalan, it's a pretty damn good episode, I feel. It was nice. There was a lot of action. There's deaths everywhere. Like there's deaths that you expect, and there's deaths that you also not necessarily expect. It's like, oh, you thought you would have seen these characters further, but I guess we're only gonna see them for a couple episodes, right? Especially that scene where we have so there's Kathleen. What's the other guy? There's Kathleen and there's the
her second right hand man.
Yeah, do you remember his name or not? We're doing good. We're doing a good job on the Seent It already. But there's that scene where what's the boomer or whatever? What's the big zombie guy?
The bloated one.
He goes over to him and just grabs him and just rips his body, his head and his shoulder. Like it's not even a clean cut.
Actually, no, I don't think that was a bloater, because the bloaters are the ones. Oh no, I'm thinking about the spore one.
Yeah, no, it's a bloater. But that was not a clean cut, man. That was not a clean cut. That was as gross as like you kind of expect it to be. And that man got ripped apart. Kathleen also kind of got murdered by that little child. That eerily kind of looked like Joel's daughter, right? No? Am I wrong on this? Did she not have a little similarity?
I did not make that connection whatsoever as I saw it.
Right.
It was just the fact that they even had a child clicker in the show.
The child clicker to what she looked like in the game, because not what she looked like in the show, right? That she looks a little different in the show. But other than that, it's we got to the ending of Sam and his brother's story, and we kind of like. It was the same. It was the same. Henry and Sam.
Henry and Sam.
Yeah, Henry and Sam.
Sorry, you say Sam, I'm immediately thinking about Joe's brother. I'm like, no, that's what we're talking about.
Who is Tommy? We're doing great this week, man. No. We need to have a list. And you're the love master. Look, hold on,
going off the rails for just a moment. No, I gotta say it before I forget. I was thinking about Uncharted for half a second because his brother's name is Sam. Same company made the damn game, all right?
The daughter's named Sam, I think, isn't it?
No, I said Uncharted. His brother's name is Sam.
In Uncharted, the daughter's name is Sam, I think. In Uncharted.
No, the brother's name is Sam.
Let's not go down that path because for this, obviously we need a list of characters, man. We need like a what do you call it when you go to a play?
Roster.
Yeah, we need a roster for this. But anyway, so that story of Henry and Sam is, I was kind of, hey, how are they going to play this out, right? And it is a little different, but it's basically what you see in the game, right? Because he does get infected, and Henry's the one that has to take him out, and then he takes himself out, right? So it's similar in that way, but they did change up the fact that Sam is deaf in this game, and it just, I think it works so well that I didn't even really notice it. I didn't even really notice it, right? But Dylan, what are the biggest moments, or you can kind of like, what do you think about the deaf situation? I guess that they kind of changed it up that way. It was.
Well, okay, so for the death situation, it definitely made it more realistic in the setting that they've built for this TV series. Though, yes, people want it to be 1-to-1. I'm like, I'm fine with the way this went down. I think, but there were a few moments of inconsistency for me, and I'll get to that in a moment. I wanted to bring up a little point that we brought up last episode. Is I can't remember Kathleen.
Yeah.
I still didn't feel the murderous vibe from her. I could not feel it whatsoever.
You get it a little more this time. Just
you get it slightly. No, you get a sense of her overdoing it with grief. Like she wants her revenge. That is the only thing she wants. But I still don't see the ruthlessness anywhere in there. I see that she's only willing to really kill one person. That's who she really wants. She just wants Sam. She just wants Henry, and she wants them both dead. She didn't try and understand what happened to Brian because Brian was killed by Joel and Ellie. That was just a thing that went down. Somebody obviously lied, but nobody came to understand.
There's definitely little kind of holes in her character, right? She's not necessarily the most fully formed characters, and it's kind of like also like, man, what was the point of these characters? We could have kind of maybe gone down a different path or followed Joel a little bit more or something like that.
I didn't need her whole backstory while she was standing in her bedroom. I didn't need that at all. I couldn't feel it. That's what I really noticed.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where she's presented like the last episode, and then with this one is like, I mean, you guys are trying. I mean, the biggest line she says right at one point, she's like, kids die all the time. Kids die all the time, right? It's like, oh, okay,
that was the one moment.
Rough. No, but even when she was talking to like the prisoners or whoever, that she goes like, well, you guys are collaborators, you deserve to die or whatever, and then kill them and burn them. It's faster. But I think it's just a little like, it's just not great. Her character, the guy's character is a little bit better, you know, her second in command, but mainly because he doesn't say as much, but you give her more to play with, and the more you kind of listen, it's like, right, I don't believe it. But what was the thing that you were gonna go to, Dalan? You said you're gonna kind of get to in a moment. Or what
there was the moment for the sniper. Don't get me wrong, there was the moment where they first got there, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole little twist that the guy had his little ham radio and was calling people to actually come over there. Yeah. That felt nice. But immediately after that is when I had the problem. They had a whole squad standing right in front of them. They could have just shot them. Yeah. They could have just shot all of them. But no. Instead, they did a whole bunch of stuff of walking down the street, having a whole conversation. She could have just got her revenge. Obviously, she wanted to make sure she got the kid too. But they really weren't moving very well in their thought process. They really could have just ran to that house.
I don't know. I mean, look, she's the leader, right? She feels all this emotion, whether it's warranted, whether we believe her or not. But there's this whole moment where like she's the one that's gonna do it. So I don't know. I don't feel like it was like the pacing.
No. My real problem here was Ellie, Henry, and Sam, because they could have got to that house.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. But you know, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on. They got the
explosion happened. Everybody turned around and started shooting at the clickers. They could have made a fast break even then, but they just sat there behind the car and watched it all go down. Like, no, why are you waiting for this? You see clickers and they're not looking at you. Run.
Look, I get all that, but like the way the scene played out, it wouldn't have played out as exciting, I feel, right? Because now you have them under the car.
They did something else.
Yeah, they're under the car. Ellie has to get over there. She has to go run into a different car where she has to like, oh damn, I gotta get out of here now. So it's really like, it's kind of like, dude, imagine in that scene when all these things blow up like Emergence Day, some straight up Gears of War shit, right? Like they all popped out. Which, by the way, I guess they use all kinds of who did they use? They used the same like the running people from, damn, I forget. I gotta come back to it. But apparently they used people that the all movement type of stuff. It wasn't CG. It was real people running around, right? Like it was real like
extras.
It wasn't CG or anything like that, right? So it was
extras.
No, but that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for the director that he's played with movement before from a different show. But they use real humans to kind of run around, which makes it even more spooky, right? But I mean, we can kind of, I don't know. I kind of want to go into the ending real quick a little bit more, but is there anything else, Dan, kind of leading up to what we see in the ending? Because there's a lot going on.
There was a moment before that, but I can't remember.
Because it's definitely you're building up on that like relationship. You're sitting with it as far as
that was my problem. Yeah, is obviously there was the cut from the last episode to this episode, and I was wondering how it was going to go down. And he trusted Joel way too fast. Yeah. He's just on an immediate trust train. Yeah. So
I don't know. I didn't feel too bad on that. I think it.
I didn't feel too bad about it, but I felt it was too fast. There was no real build up to any type of relationship.
They got an hour. They only got 9 episodes. It's kind of like, I don't know, and I don't feel like it felt rushed necessarily. I mean, it's like, dude, you're holding a gun to someone, and then you're like, okay, we're gonna try to trust ourselves right now, right? So
you know what I did actually really love about the episode was when they went to the children's safe haven underground. Like that whole area, I was like, man, this is like picture perfect compared to the game. That was one of those 1-to-1 moments that they had. And I was like, yes, I am super glad that they decided to throw this in here. Even though it was at a different spot than it was in the game, it was still an excellent moment to have in the game. And they took their breather. You got to see how another part of humanity tried to survive underground. But I'm wondering, did the clickers run through their area to get to the next section because they said they drove them all underground? I mean, I don't know what was happening. I was like, nothing's broken.
Well, and I at this point, I don't think we'll get like that. So there's definitely some holes, right? Some holes that they left behind that I don't think we'll ever get an answer to. But we'll get to the ending real quick. Then I think it was, to me, it was pretty damn powerful, man. I think you still get the final moments with Ellie and Sam, and they're playing together, right? And they have the little sketchbook that you erase and write on it. But it was kind of crazy, right? Because you're obviously coming to the moment. If you played the game, you know kind of what happens. He's gonna turn and he's gonna get killed by his brother, right? But even up to that point where he's like, wait, but are you a human? What, even when you turn or what? I was like, ooh, where's this going? And it's like, yep, he raised his pant leg, and you see the bite, and then Ellie, right, is kind of, you don't see this in the game, so this is a deviation, right? Or they kind of added this, right? But she's like, no, my blood is medicine, and she like, cuts her hand and like she rubs it on his like skin. It's a little gross, right? But it's kind of like tender in a weird sort of way, right? That's like, oh, she's
trying to save his life. She's
actually trying to just save me, even though that's not how science works. It's not how any of it works, but it's still kind of like kids are trying to beat their kids, right?
Hey, you say that, but we already have this whole situation of fungus taking over people within a matter of hours to days. So the idea that maybe your blood could counteract it quickly enough, especially if you know that you survived it, that by itself makes sense that she would even attempt to do that. And she's not a scientist. She's a 15-year-old girl or something like that.
They're kids being kids, right? But then you get to the scene where obviously he turns and she kind of like pulls him back a little bit, right? Or kind of looks at him. And then there's, of course, the scene where he's running across there in the living room. Henry, he's like, hey, no, you're not going to do it, Joe. You're not going to shoot him. He shoots him, right? Which is like, oh, damn, it's kind of a little powerful moment there. And then he's like, what'd I do? I've lost everything. I've lost my purpose, right? For like living. And, he shoots himself.
No, not what do I do? What have I done?
What have I done? And then it turns into like, what happens now? Because he knows, right? They all know that that's what you had to do, right? So, but it was powerful, man. It was powerful knowing like what was gonna come up. I know me and my child were watching it, and we definitely had like little single tears, man, because it was like, oh, damn. Even though I knew that it had happened,
once again, this is why Ben Shapiro was wrong, because it's not about zombies, because they're not zombies. It's about the people.
Yeah, well, and that's what all these shows are. Even like The Walking Dead is that. But The Walking Dead was just like long in the tooth. By the way, we're still having more and more series. And to me, like you're beat down so much on it, right? Like it's like the monsters aren't the monsters. People are the monsters. Don't you get it? Like, and I'm like, you get beat down with it. Where it's like, I get it. It's not the zombies, right? But it's the same with this. But I don't know. For whatever reason, this is done well. I mean,
it's a little bit of both. The monsters are the monsters.
Yeah.
And people can also be monsters. But in this particular aspect, there's actually still people out there that want to help or want to survive with other people. Not everybody's ruthless. But nobody thinks anything through in this world, I can tell you that. They're just going to shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah. So it's rough in that way where I don't think the Walking Dead is, right? Like, The Walking Dead, there's a lot of these characters that are alive that shouldn't be alive. But in The Last of Us, but it also, like, is in the runtime, right? It's 9 episodes. It's based on a video game. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people dying out here. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough story.
I got another hole in my pocket for this episode. They're walking through the pitch dark. This man has no light to speak of whatsoever, and he's firing his sniper rifle at whoever comes down the street. What if it was one of his own people?
Hey, man, he knows. One of his own people would have told him. What if his own people would have told him?
Maybe.
But so, Dalan? So ended on that point. You went on a different diversion, right? But how'd you feel? How'd you feel about the ending, man? Was it emotional, even though you knew what was coming up? I suppose.
I obviously, for the people that play the game, we knew what was coming. But the most emotional part for it in my eyes was the part where Ellie was trying to save him. Like the moment she found out he got bit, he brought a lot of life to the moment itself, and you could actually feel the pain of knowing of what's coming next. And for most people, again, even if you didn't play the game, you're looking at this like, oh man, that kid's not going to survive. Even if Ellie tries, this kid's not going to survive. How much time does this kid have? Come morning, that was it.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's one of these. Hey, episode 5, I think was good. I think we're in the midst of it. We're kind of like we're down the home stretch, I suppose, in a way, right? Like we're, I think, more than halfway done at this point.
So but I'm like, where are they gonna stop though? Is it gonna be like? I'm wondering what the season finale is going to be. That's what.
Well, I think at least we'll get to the end of first game's ending. At least we'll get to that, and I think probably next we're gonna be in Wyoming.
I'm sorry, you said the first game's ending. We still have to find his brother Tommy.
That's probably in the next episode, Dalan. I'm assuming that these things have been. That's what I was gonna say, man. These episodes are really dense. They're pretty dense, and I hope whoever's watching them, right? Imagine for us, it's like we played this game. It was a nice 13, 14, 15-hour game, but people don't get this much content, I feel, in single episodes. And even though they kind of stretch this part of the story for 2 episodes, I feel like things are gonna ramp up quick, and we're gonna get to the end of the first game. But before we get out of here, Dalan, I'll give you the last word after this if you wish. But Samuel Gutierrez, he did leave a message on YouTube for us. He said this channel is awesome, so thank you very much for that, sir. We hope you come back, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. Even though we fumbled up all the names, we need the cast of characters before we start recording out here. But
hey, man, you have nobody to raid me in. No one.
That's true.
You're on your own.
It's a problem. Do you have anything to say to this man, Dalan, on the interwebs?
Hey, man, thanks for being a patron. You subscribe, tell other people, bring them back.
There you go. Dalan, any final words on the episode? Don't give me something nice, something, not like another hole is the fact that when they went downstairs, that was a 3rd grade classroom, but it's really 2nd grade.
No. What I will give you is that even though there are some deviations from the show to the game, and obviously I said this at the very beginning, is that it's not going to be a 1-to-1. They're going to make their own way of telling the story, and so far they've done an excellent job of doing so. And it's one of the highest rated shows in America right now, and I hope that they continue this trend on.
And hopefully they were able to avoid the Super Bowl's blast radius enough to where
that's right. They had to air it on Friday instead of Sunday. Nobody was going to pay attention to The Last of Us that day.
All right, well, that was it. That's a Seent It episode, a mini Seent It for us. I'm Carlos Macias, Dalan Kirkwood from Kirkwood up in the mountains. Thank you very much, sir. Maybe next time you'll light up that Seisha in the bank, Dalan.
I'll work on it. Hey, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I'm here for the upset. But yeah, I'm going to work for it.
All right,
I'll work on it.
See you guys later. Latest.